Once again, we are back for another episode of Figuring Ish Out. And man, we are going live this time. We are going live, super live, and more live for you all. And man, I just think I told y'all we just started our own ministry, our own church. And we are here for tonight's man study. And the man study tonight, man, we talking about the church and what can the church to get men back. Man, it's been something out there that we've been really having this conversation about, and we really trying to get there. But before we do, please click and subscribe to our channel. Both channels on YouTube. Figuring Ish Out and Mansplanations Media. We are there. Go subscribe. And matter of fact, me, Amari, Bad Jim, and I were coming up with a concept to actually help you all help us. And the more you share us, we're gonna come up with a gift or something to give you all. And we believe in giving cash. So it's gonna be a cash money prize. We haven't figured out how much it's gonna be, but the more you share this and get people to actually click and subscribe to this and watch our show, because we're trying to bring you all quality content. Amari.
I agree. I'm all for it.
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Had a good day, relax, chill, enjoy my drink, smelling good.
BG?
Hey, we got it in. Guys trip, learn, grew, all of that. So fresh off of vacay, I'm feeling great too.
Amari, I know you're smelling good over there.
Yes, sir. Long story short, I was at a nice restaurant here in Atlanta. This gentleman, his wife and child walked past our booth, and I smelled his cologne, and it immediately took me back to like early college. There was this Marc Jacobs cologne that I really liked. Cannot remember the name of it, but it's like this exact same scent, like a soft, sweet scent with like a nice cedar undertone to add some spice to it, natural woody spice. So I asked him what the name of it was when he was leaving. He said Santo 33. Never heard of it. It's by a company called Labo, and this scent, like this right here, Santo 33. This scent right here, Labo, yeah, and it's made in a lab, all that stuff. And I can tell you right now, I spray this on when I go to sleep just because I want to have sweet dreams. Like that is the reason. That's one of the reasons.
So it's not because he conceded. Oh my gosh! Let's stop it. For all the ballers, let them know where they can get it and how much it costs for the ballers. Right? Me, I'm in the middle of all of that, but for the who want to get it.
So you're not gonna find this in most stores. You might find it like online and like Nordstrom, but you can go to the Labo website. This is the 1.7 ounce. Retails for about $200. If you want the 3.4 ounce, I think it's $300. So you end up saving a little bit more, I guess, if you do that one. This was my first purchase from them, so I decided to just get the 1.7. But I've already determined I'm gonna go ahead and get the 3.4. In fact, they have, I think, a 7 ounce bottle, if I'm not mistaken, that retails for $1,000. And then some of their fragrances go up to $1,800, $2,000 for like a large bottle of it. So yeah, but yeah. And this scent, this lasts all damn day. Like you don't need, yeah. It lasts all day.
They won't.
You ever get tired of cologne that just for whatever, like it dies out within like you remember Churchwoman's cologne, right? Churchwoman's perfume.
Yes, I do.
No matter what you were wearing, if they took 2 sprays and walked in a room, it was always them. They overpowered every cologne in the goddamn room. This is the only cologne that I know that can withstand Church Mother perfume and still win. Like that's the only one, head to head, hands down battle. The only one. But
that's a segue, Mr. Life. He gave us a segue. It can withstand Church Mother perfume. So there it is. Let's just treat that as a segue right now.
real brief, because I do have that scent myself, and they all both know me as being the cheapest of the group. I am definitely punctual with my money, and when it comes to actually making sure that I spend the least amount possible on anything. I do like to look good and smell good, but there is a line out there. There is a website called fragranceline.com, and you can get like a 0.3 or a 0.27, 0.5, and it'll run you approximately about 30 to 40 bucks. So at least you can get about a good month of wear just to figure out what scents you like. And they have all designer scents. I mean, I have the best of the best, and I didn't spend a dime for them like everybody else. Like he spent 200 bucks. I literally got that for about $35. And I had it for about 3 months. When you talking about the great ones, I have them all out there, and that's where I go to get most of my scents. And then when I figure out if I really like a scent, like a month later, then I make the decision on try to go to actually buy the real bottle. But that's how I do it, because I do have a scent that I spent a lot of money on. I wore for approximately a month and recognized that I hated the scent. And that really pisses me off when you spend $150 on a scent and you really don't like it. You get that first, you're like, oh man, this is great. And then you wear it like 2-3 days, like, this isn't that great. What you think about that, Amari? Have you ever had that?
I got, so right now I'm at about so I think I have like a minor collection, like a medium-sized cologne collection. I've got maybe like close to 50 bottles, give or take a few, because I've been purchasing a couple more these past few months. And there are plenty of scents that I smelt in the store and I just bought, and I do kind of have regret, like, and then you spray them, and oh, this shit doesn't even last, right? Or it doesn't keep well, is what I like to say. So I won't mention the brand name, because who knows, one day we may have sponsors. But this, and it's one I told you about, right? Tall cylindrical bottle, weird ass clamp at the top, and I bought it because it smelled good. And it still smells good, but literally it's almost like body spray. Like it just does not last. So
And a bunch of chemicals.
Yeah, and a bunch of chemicals. So to Mr. Life's point, the website's not a bad idea, right? If you don't want to spend, if you get ready to drop $300, $400, $500 on a bottle of cologne, and they don't have it in any of the stores, because some of these colognes that I present are boutique colognes, meaning you're not going to find them in a big box retailer, then that's a good idea. That you want to try it out to some degree to see if that scent sits with you, because once you make that purchase, you can't return it back. So.
That is it. BG.
Yo, let's talk a little bit. We got the cologne out the way, and hopefully somebody will drop that sponsorship. But let's get to the meat of it. We came off a guys trip, right? Let's just get straight to it, right? We had all the fun, all the good stuff. We chilling with all our homies, our church homies, our thug homies, our educated homies, our $1 million homies, right? Because we do have a wide range with our group, right? We have everything. So the thing is, we had a lot of enlightenment, right? It was not the usual. We just go out here, debauchery, tear down the city, come back, act like none of that happened. We had a lot of enlightenment. We had a lot of discussions about the church. We had discussions about religion, and then men and relationships and marriages, how all this stuff fit, right? So that segues right into Mr. Life. Recap the people what we on here for this episode about.
Oh man, you want to get right at, you want all the smoke right now, right? You want all the smoke.
Well, y'all gave it to me last time, you know what I'm saying? So we just bring it. Let's get it over with. I will go get my shades, and Bad Jim and I will be back.
Last episode was about does the church emasculate men? And we determined that the church does emasculate men, that it makes men weaker than what they should be. We also determined that the church subjects men to typically weaker men. And this week we're trying to figure out what the church need to do to get apex men back. And I do mean, when I talk about apex men, no matter where you are, you're alpha, beta, sigma, gamma, or whatever you are, being the best man that you can be inside that bracket, what can they do to get you back? And that's what we're going to start right now. So kick it to you all. Let me ask this question. Why are black men leaving the church?
Bad Gemini, since you left most recently.
Oh, goodness. Well, I'm gonna answer, but look, we need somebody to monitor the comments too. But while we live on this part, I'll focus on this here. Honestly, the reason why I left, there are multiple reasons, but I'll address it like this here. I left because it was one of those things of recalibrating as my own individual. It's nothing. I look at it like when we talk about church and God, some people might not believe in God, some people do. I haven't left God. That's two different things, right? And so when the information is presented as if you don't come to church, you're a heathen, you don't do this here, you out of the will. Oh, you can go to a football game and celebrate that for 3 hours. You can't, but you won't come to church. That's not the standpoint I'm coming from. I have to relearn and understand me as an individual before I can get back into what we call Christianity, religion, spirituality. There are so many announcements. So the reason I left was because what I thought it was, after just living life, it was nothing deep, just living life. I had questions, and the questions that I had to go and get a whole bunch of knowledge, because sometimes, you know, people use the scripture to benefit that. I'll give you a perfect example. In all that get understanding. For me, if we talking about Christianity and religion, well, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm going to get understanding using all the resources that are provided to me. So I'm not saying Christianity is bogus and not real. What I am saying is you have this whole Pan-African movement, and when you hear people who operate in that movement, like Christians typically sometimes say those people are, well, that's out of the will and this and that. But the thing is, before Christianity, there was a root religion. And based on being raised in American culture, whatever preceded Christianity was seen to be negative. And I'm like, why is it negative? Because if I'm of African descent, that's what they grew up on, and they were a world power. They built pyramids. They did all this, dominated the world. What was it so negative? It's saying heathen gods, because Christianity is a newer religion. So for me, I left because I wanted a bigger understanding of everything. But I still believe there's a higher power, God, all of that. But I just needed a great understanding.
So the first thing is that they can't understand any of that because they believe the earth is only 6,000 years old. And you're talking about, I don't know, real history. So that's going to be a problem. That's just
look, he's already
first problem right there. Oh yeah, this is my
but
forte.
Let me tell you this. The reason I'm taking this take, because some people left church because of hurt too. Look, I didn't want to come from that angle. That's so many people's story. Honestly,
but that's why they left. But that's why they so and to your point, that's why they left. I'm gonna come from a counter view real quick, and I'm gonna stay on the whole how we get them back. I'm gonna come from a counter view, something that y'all may not even like think from me, right? I actually know people who church and their faith is the cornerstone of their life, and they are genuinely good people. Genuinely nice people, right? So husband and wife couple, I'll give you an example of some of my friends of mine, and he is not necessarily an alpha male, right? He's not an alpha male, but he is definitely a good man. So I'm not sure which category he falls, but he's definitely a good man. So just stay with me for a second. So I can respect the fact that the church is a cornerstone of their belief system, but I also equate that to like someone who's racist, and racism being the cornerstone of their personality. Like if I grow up in an environment where the woman, my grandmother, who nursed me and fed me and loved me, hated niggers, then, can I really be mad at a racist for being racist? Because that's how they felt love. Just like in the church, you believe in an imaginary friend, and that imaginary friend loves you. So in both these scenarios, the people that make up, right, the family of it all, right, like all of that keeps you rooted in that belief system. And I just think that we're fucked because of that.
Well, go ahead, Mr. Life.
Well, the thing is, we can get into all the history and the logistics of Christianity, but it doesn't boil down to what we're talking about here today. Is why are men defecting away from the church? Because all that was still there, even aside slavery and those type of things. And now in like the last 10 years, we've saw at least 25% is what I saw from like 2005 to about right now, since a defection of black people and mainly black men. Black women still attend church at about a 80% rate. Black men are down to about 50% right now. So what do you see as being the main reason or some of the reasons why black men are leaving the church? I have my theory.
I think part of what Bad Gemini did was give some context too, like from from my perspective, I talked about like, okay, what I think the situation is. He talked about why people are leaving, right?
Mhm.
And so I think that gave some context, because this next section is where like we're going to talk about, okay, like how do you now, are you going to lie to them a different way? Like what's going to be the like what's going to be a scam, right? Like that's just the truth. Like, because for someone like me who has my own shit, does my own thing, lives my own life, to want to be part of an organization that tells me to pay them every week to sit down and listen to them say something from a 2,000-year-old plus set of books. I don't see how that I don't see how that lullaby is going to bring me. No, it's not going to do anything for me. But I got some ideas as to why though.
Look, I'm gonna say this real quick. I'm not opposed to. I mean, look, people want to type. That's fine. Whatever works for them. I have my whole moment that I talked about in the last episode in my specific experience. But part of the reason I'll be even more specific when we talking about people leaving church. Mine was, you know how sometimes you hear people say love is not enough. Love is not enough, right? I'm the best, I love you, all of that. But it's like, no, because I could tell you I love you all day, but it's the actions, it's the work you're building, right? And so this is not blasphemy if I say church is not enough, spirituality is not enough, because it's a working relationship. So for me, when I'm asking for enlightenment, for some reason, when I was younger, based on how it's presented and what people told me, the whole mindset was, it's almost like Jesus is enough. Jesus will fix everything and do all of this. Yeah, and I'm like, so if you want to know what the enlightenment I wanted, look, people getting their credit scores, right? Can we have those things at our church? I don't need to have a message about, believe in the Lord and trust them, and you can go to the dealership with bad credit and walk out with a vehicle for zero payment down.
Okay, so real quick, people don't even know that that's a thing, though. Some people don't even know that's a thing. Like, explain that real quick. Like, explain the fact that someone would tell you to go to a car dealership and start touching random cars and praying over them, and that one of these, if you pray on it, God's gonna give it to you. Like, explain that shit to them and make it real.
Make it real.
The thing is, let me tell you this here.
Make that real. And make that real.
This is a battle of two things: faith and practicality. And I think when you have faith, it can operate with being practical at the same time. What people say is they have super faith, but you can have irrational faith. And that's things people don't talk about, where it's like you have the faith, but everybody else looking at you with that little side eye look like, I know you got faith, but none of that don't make sense. You're going to go to this dealership with this 545 credit score, nothing to put down. And let me tell you how savage it is, though, because this is the flip side of it, though, right? So that person with the 540 or 575 credit score, no money down, you can leave the dealership with the vehicle. They're savage like that. If you want to have a $900 car payment stretched out over 84 months and pay $80,000 for a vehicle that's $25,000 to $30,000, they have no problem doing that.
Did I say 12? Yeah, that's more like it.
12,000. They will let you do it, have it for all of 6 months, come repo it. You've already depreciated it and sell it to somebody with better credit and still make a profit off of that person because you gave them the initial profit. And the thing is, or however long. So when some things this is my problem. When we're talking about spiritual matters and practicality and not understanding the difference of how they have to work together, I can have faith. But my faith is knowing that my credit score is above 760 and I'm gonna have money down. So where it may be I wanted to get a 20,000 vehicle, but they're like, oh, your credit's good, we can work this. And it's like, oh, I got a $30,000 vehicle. That's great, but it shouldn't be, somebody has no money, none of that. Like, that's the whole. So when Amari's talking about the context of this stuff, it's when you have an irrational faith. And so with me, one thing I learned is I need more practicality in Christianity. Have people with seminars, because this is one thing I'm gonna let you go to, Mr. Life. I did not like getting shunned for, we have a speaker coming to the congregation, right? And this any church. And we're trying to raise the money. It's a conference. It may cost $200 for this conference. Okay, that's not a problem.
200.
I'm finna
wait, $200 for a conference?
Yeah, it varies. It can be 50, 100,
is
200.
Is the whole conference in a single conference room? Like,
hey, it could be wherever it needs to be. But I'm gonna finish it and I'm gonna throw it to any one of y'all. But just to finish,
wait a minute. We have a comment from my brother that's asking a question here. KB, he's asking, "Hey man, is enough individualized? What is enough then? Just a question."
I mean, what does he mean by? I get into it, but what enough are we talking about? Enough as far as character goes, or I mean, I'm not really sure what the enough Kenneth means.
All right, so KB, we're gonna need you to actually
so
clarify
basically
that for us.
Are we saying it's an individualized situation? While he's clarifying that, let me finish my whole thing. So, Amari, so where did I leave off at? See how y'all do me? Y'all can't be. Why y'all do a brother like this here, man?
No, it was just.
Go ahead.
It was about the conference. You're talking about the conference. Remember planning the conference?
Yeah, and the thing is, I've done it. I have no problem. But then when it's the guilt trip, why would you give this motivational speaker or this one or that one? If I feel I'm getting enlightenment for that, I can sow into that. It shouldn't be like a either or. Or how about double up? Bring this person to the church. Forget the traditional style of let me have this bishop, this apostle, this prophet come speak and try to raise the biggest offering, right? So have this individual come who will help me get a home or with credit, like just practicality that will have me survive in America as a whole, not the church. Because outside of the four wall, that's where a lot of people's problems begin. So I need information pertaining to the stuff I deal with outside of the four walls. Honestly, and that you can go ahead. Anybody after that?
Well, all right, go ahead, Amari. You started the show.
Yeah, I was gonna say like when you talk about this context, right? You're talking about if you want to bring men back, right? The men who are currently there cannot still be there because the men who are there are happy the way shit is, right? Like you have people there that church women. That's their best shot at a woman, period. Like, so they're there like hunting and praying and shit. You have the ministers and the pastors who
pray on
the women and pray on the men. Sometimes both, sometimes all of the above. So if those people who are there, who benefit from it are there, then you're never going to bring the alpha guys that you want back. You're never going to bring those kind of men back because there's no compromise, right? Like, do you remember? Okay, some of us are old enough to know when Kirk Franklin released his first like mainstream hit, which was called "Stomp," and a lot of black churches, even including the one that I went to, didn't agree with the song because he had Salt from Salt and Pepper doing some rap, and that to me was like, what the fuck? Like, how the fuck are you going to sit here and say that this man who is, for all intent and purpose, ministering the gospel, reaching out to people and no, that's wrong because it has rap music in it? Why the fuck would I want to be there? If you're that closed-minded, that dogmatic, that uninviting, you know what the church has? A superiority fucking complex. That's what it has. That's what it has, right? Like, oh, I don't like what you do, so you have to change to come to me. Think about that shit. You gotta change. You gotta be better. If you grew up in the black church, you had to have a certain kind of clothes. You had to be there certain many days. Hold up. Jesus didn't have these fucking rules. Why do we have these rules? Why do we have to dress up to go to church? What if the kind of men that you want don't want to fucking dress up? They're the kind of guys who are CEOs who wear sneakers and who wear basketball shorts, and you would never fucking know. But they wouldn't be invited in your church because they wear sneakers and basketball shorts. So I don't think you're gonna get them back unless the men who are already there leave.
That's tough because you don't want to. And I get it because then what you're talking about, it's like a whole tearing down of the infrastructure as we know it and rebooting, right? So, I mean, but there's wisdom that comes from people who have done it from years. And yeah, you can say negative things, but we just need a revamping more than a tearing down, right? Because that's not the angle we coming down. So if you want to be honest, and I'm reading the comment right now. From you got Kenyatta, she letting us know right now, and I get it. I think it's the judgment part, right? As she's mentioning, I can agree with that. That is a lot of pressure, right? It's a lot of pressure for a guy who comes to church and I'm going to be looked at a certain way for hitting a bar. And the thing is, if you see me at said bar for 3 days a week and I just like to be relaxed, still paying bills, taking care of home, and everything is in order, then it's like, but you 3 days a week, it's like I'm an alcoholic. But the funny thing is, like, the person who's look, it's so many ways you can go with that. I'm gonna let you go, Omari, while I gather my thoughts. But go.
No, I'm saying like I know you're saying you think it's a revamp, but how the fuck you gonna revamp dogmatic mentality and thinking, right? Like, you're not gonna change their minds. You're not gonna get some pastor who's been preaching for 30 years to all of a sudden realize that he's been wrong for 30 fucking years. He has too much of an ego for that. Right? You don't become a pastor because you want to help people. You can become a pastor because you're a narcissist, which is why I'm thinking about becoming a pastor. So
he's nuts. He's nuts. And you know what?
Because it makes perfect sense.
Context. Just to pause real quick. He did give concept when he's saying what, because I stated that the church wasn't enough, and that's because the thing is, you're right. It is an individual relationship. So that's absolutely correct. So when we're saying the church is enough, that is reflecting back on that individual. But when we're saying the church is enough, there's a flip side of that too. When we're saying the church as it is now, that's not enough based on what it provides, because when you look at what it provides, let's be honest, a sound word is good, right? But some people treat that like it's a movie. They come for 2 hours, they laugh, they cry, just like at a movie for 2 hours. You know, they have expressions, they comment to the person next to them. That was a good part right there. That was awesome. That was amazing, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But then the practical part, right? Because the thing is, I think sometimes the emotional strings get pulled on, right?
Yeah,
and then after a while, you're like, how many times have I watched the same movie? So the emotional strings getting pulled on, but I'm talking about what's really inciting action. And yes, look, what's really inciting. I'm laughing at the comments. So I'm like, yes, you're a narcissist. My thing is, I like KB being on here. He's one of the most practical guys. Look, if y'all haven't, and I'm going to vouch for him, if y'all have not been to Pastor Kenneth Brown's church in Tallahassee, is right there for all y'all new students. He's in walking distance. He's right there by Foothill. I don't have the address name. You can holler at him. He's gonna be one of the most practical guys you know.
Wait a minute. You all been going on and on for a while. Let me go off on this because I got plenty to say about this particular subject. The thing when we're talking about men, we're talking about men who trying to be the best that they can be. We're talking about the men from the league of extraordinary gentlemen, right? Those are the men that we're talking about, men trying to be great. The problem that I had with the church is where I come from, and when I walked into the church, I found myself in a place subjugated to men who I thought was weaker than I am. So can I preach? Let me preach. Let me preach. So the thing is, now you have a man walking in here from the streets with confidence in himself, who he is, and what he can do. And now I have to find myself in a lower space. But some could say that was God trying to break me down and all whatnot. Fine and well, I can take that. But I don't think God going to place me behind the man who I think and I'm not talking about the pastor, as one person. I'm talking about many people inside the church that have leadership. Right. So, and now we're talking about character. Let's talk about the character of a lot of these men, because I come from the street. I got it out the mud with women. I could go to the baddest broad in the street, put down game, get inside the brawl, and do what I had to do. A lot of these church pimps go into the church and prey on women because they say, "Oh, my man of God, you're gonna be my wife." To me, those are the lowest of the lowest men ever, and a lot of those men in the church are mainly in leadership. So to me, you have men that's trying to do right, that's in the back, and then you have the men in the church that's in the front that's doing everything wrong, including the pastor. So for me, coming from an apex man and trying to go subjugate myself to a man that I think is inferior, And yes, I did say it. A man that I think that is inferior to who I am, I found that to be the worst situation possible. So I'm gonna tell churches, if they want men to come back, they're gonna have to turn the church back over to men, not just one man.
You know what? That was good. You dropped bars. I see how you might drop on that. You go ahead and sip your drink and relax. See, Stu, you know, let me tell you, Mr. Life doesn't usually get that animated, but Mr. Life, look, and I got my homie Hinson around here talking about facts, because that's true. You hit a heavy subject, because the street, you know, when you talk about alpha males, the thing is, when you have a pastor, sometimes they can be given that alpha status by the role they play. But the way it seems is what Mr. Life is saying, like, you got alpha, you got this so-called clout. I see it, but I'm an alpha, and a real alpha male knows another alpha male. So when you see certain tendencies, it's like, I'm not bound down to that, because you're not an alpha. You just an alpha in status. But if you put us, if we pull you out of this element, you're not operating out of alpha male status outside of this element, which, you know, and look, that does bother me to a degree. And the reason I got mad too, because you said a key point too, also, Mr. Life, and it made me think. I think it's a part when you were saying the way somebody in leadership would operate for the churches that didn't operate like they need to. Like, let's provide clarification.
I think Amari
easy for them to pray.
I think Amari would say that all churches operate that way.
Yeah, he likes to say that. We're gonna look his look. No, before he say, let me address that. But the weaker women, and you said it made me think about something. This will make me think about, here I am. If I know I'm a knucklehead and I'm coming to a place where I'm like, you know what, I'm trying to give up my knucklehead ways. We don't want to smoke the weeds. We don't want to drink the drinks, and we don't want to have our way with women in ways that are not becoming of men. Then I come to said place. I've already given up a lot of my mannish ways, as people said. That was a lot to me. That's a big step. I've put all the effort in, I've given them up. So right now I feel I've already dropped myself to a level, right? I do that. Then I'm coming to a male who I might not see as that way. But let's say they're the leader and they're giving you good knowledge. But then you see the activity and you're like, hold up, I don't gave up all of this stuff, left the streets, left all of this here. And you doing whatever you want? Man, I'm back out in the streets, because you doing what I do, but you doing it within four walls. So no man will respect that. They be like, I'm going to be out because I made a solid effort to change my life and become this guy. And when I came here, I felt like the whole thing was a lie. Dudes do not like to be lied to, just period, by anybody. But when it's another man who you respected and you feel like you're being lied to, you just cut the whole situation. You know, I might be just talking about.
Let me ask you a question, Mr. Live. Let me ask you a question. Mr. Live, what do you think if in your scenario you were allowed to keep that alpha mentality and not have to fight it off, suppress it, all that shit? What do you think would have happened in that organization?
Nothing. I would have left. Anything that happened,
all that to say, he still left.
I would have still left.
Because you got to
wait a minute, because it goes back to my last statement, right? I said the church has to give the church back to the men.
Yeah,
and I think that's where, and I don't care how you chop it up with one man. I know you need a leader. But if the men inside the church can't lead, protect, and serve, and I will give credence to who that come from, if the men in general can't do all that, and we all looking at one man, it can't survive. Men,
were you stripped of that, or did you surrender it? That's another question. Were you stripped of that, or did you surrender that aspect of little men being men, a little man be a man?
I was taught that. I was in.
Okay, but when you talk about your role in a church, right? When you said you feeling like you can't just get out the way and let men be men, did you surrender your role as a man, or were you stripped of that?
Just like I said, I was taught that because I was coming into an entirely different environment. I truly did a 180. So for me, I came in as a blank slate and trying to learn and grow. And so when you walk into a gynocentric church where everything is pretty much derived around trying to make sure that women are catered to and not literally not trying to develop the men, you walking into a time bomb into where men like myself is going to only be there for so long. I stayed there a lot longer than I wanted to because of the people that I was around. Let's recall, I was the guy that stood outside church all day long. I really didn't want to go in. I was used to banging beats, not banging tamarines. That just is what it is. I wasn't used to that, and I'm still not used to that. I want to hear some banging bass coming down. That's where I like. That's my culture. That's where I'm from. And the church did not deliver that to me because it doesn't know who men are, but it knows who women are, and it goes to all this emotionalism. But that's why they're leaving. That's why the church is losing men right now.
Did you have problem catering to women? Give us context, because when you want that, if you were running a church, wouldn't you want to cater to women? If you run, and when we're saying catering, we're talking about helping them secure, safe, lead, protect, all the things we know would come from. Is that a bad thing, or was it the way you were doing it? I'm trying to have some understanding.
Let me clarify that. When I'm talking about catering to women, it's about that emotionalism that comes along with you.
Go ahead.
Yeah. It's not the physical presence of the man being there. It's just the emotionalism or whatever. Let's pray. Let's God going to do it, and all these other type of things. Right? There was no actual that men. We actually move off of action, and everything was about faith and God's going to do it. And if you go to a man, even Moses said that we got to have some form of action. We got to go out and do these things. We got to go out and conquer. And we understand that you got to pick up your sword and go fight. Well, the emotional side of the church saying that, hey, let's go inside praise and worship, and let's praise loud enough to where we can make God move and do it for us. Well, that happened 3,000 years ago. That's not happening right now. So for a man to actually move inside church, he got to go inside his emotional side, which men doesn't necessarily cater to, and which takes me out of the vein of who I truly am, and takes away the fact that I am a man and I am an actionable man. And that's the issue. It took me away from being actionable in the things that are in things that are in man. Now, I got those myself within you all inside our group, because that's one thing that we preach, right? That we preach that men do what? They make decisions and live with them. You're a grown ass man. Make a decision, you live with it, we keep it going. But that was just within us. That wasn't within the entirety of the church. Everybody else saying, hey, God going to do it. Just waiting on God. Our whole thing was make a decision.
Yep.
I appreciate the clarification, Mr. Life. I really do. Because you don't get to rant often. So when you do it, I'm just sitting here. Look, I'm smiling now. I'm trying not to be ratchet with you, because I should
be ratchet.
You just for the heck of it.
We need you to be ratchet, BG.
I have to get my shades for that. A bad Gemini is not coming out. That guy, he's chilling right now. He's a relaxed Gemini. But what's the next standpoint? I see we've been getting comments and stuff. Is there anything else we need to address? Now I would say that I wish I had, because Kenyatta gave great feedback. I wish I had more women to help us, because to get an understanding on the women's aspect of leaving the church as well. I need to, because the thing is, they see it happening, right? As women, they attend and they see us men leaving. So I wonder what their intake is on all this.
Let me tell you one of the tipping points when I got ready to leave. And I think Kenyatta made a comment about in the comments being judged. This was when, and Mr. Life knew, I had a really rough, coming back my last summer of when I got ready to graduate. When I came back to Tallahassee for my internship, someone left the shed door open that had all my furniture in it, and it was exposed to the elements, so it was molded over. So all of my furniture was molded over. I didn't have a job when I came back because it was during their housing recession. So I was living off of loans and everything, sleeping on the floor, no furniture. Still going to this church, by the way. This is before I left, and it was one of those hot days. And remember, there was no AC. There was a hole in the wall with a long ass vacuum cord that was supposed to suck out all the hot air, because that shit works. Just ask Amazon factory workers. And it doesn't. And so as we're in there sweating off, right, it was time to go to the offering. I'm drenched in sweat, been shouting and dancing. I have a water bottle in my hand with the wrapper on it. And it's almost empty, right, because I've been drinking water. And they said, if you don't have any money, just go up to this offering plate. So I go to do that. And as I'm doing that, the lead church mother in that church snatches the bottle out of my hand and gives me this condescending, angry look, as if by me walking up with the water bottle in my hand was disrespectful to God or the church. And I'm thinking to myself, I was thirsty because, as you guys remember, when we were shot and dance, we would sweat and it was hot with no AC. So would you rather me not drink the water up here and die of thirst? Or not die, but go into dehydration? Or like, that's how much judgment was there. That's how much was there. And I looked at that and I said, you know what? If there is a God, it's not here. Because if this is the church mother, I can't imagine what the rest of the church is like. Real life, true story.
And see,
after,
real quick, individualized, right?
Yeah, and then now, but
that's you.
But also, like, this is the same, and y'all know me. I'm the same guy that would hold that door open for people, would drive to Quincy and other parts of Florida in my car, when I get a car, to pick people up from service, right? Like the fundraisers that we did together, like I was committed to that shit. Gave offerings out of my net check that we used to get, all that stuff. And I'm like, if I'm supposed to be giving out of my heart, and this is what comes out of that, what am I actually giving into? And you only get that after you've been there long enough to see past the bullshit. Like, you don't get that at first. Everyone's like, oh, you're part of the team. But as you unfortunately stay, you see all the bullshit that goes on. Just as people in the Catholic Church, how many fucking pedophile priests do you have to not realize that this is a pedophile ring disguised as a church? Segue.
That's a job. Do we want to address the comment by KB?
Yes, sir.
Do I need to go ahead and read it for the folks?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Because the thing is, we're trying to keep it general. So this is a half general, half specific. But I'll give you the question anyway. Not to be controversial, but could it have been that we were young, we didn't have mentors as older men, and we were all learning on the fly?
No, we see the same thing going on right now in TD Jakes Church, Creflo Dollar Church, any major church that you see around any church you see right now is mainly filled with women and no men. So I don't think just because we're young, men are defecting away from the church because the church is sorely lacking something for real men. And real men are not going to walk into that and have themselves subjugated to men who they think are inferior to them. That's the problem that we're running into right now. Yeah. See, I'm about to go off right now.
It's all right. Go ahead. Put me in Mr. Life's rant.
Because I'm not trying to actually go into, because we got a lot more on this, so I'm not trying to go too deep into it because we got some clips that I want to show.
Go ahead and run the clip for the people.
Just to show the stupidity of it. But let's get through this next topic right here first. What can the church do to get men back? Give me one or two pointers and we'll move on.
Bad Gemini, you got to go first because my stance is.
Look, I already don't let him talk because he's like he wants to tear down the whole church. Matter of fact, you might need to mute Amari because nothing is going to be about going back to church for him. America, nothing for him will be about going. So it's valid.
I got it.
Oh,
you gotta have.
Go ahead.
No, you gotta have bikini Sundays.
I love it.
Bikini Sundays.
Every churches out there in
I would give that tithes and offering.
Every first through fourth and fifth Sunday is Bikini Sunday. That's every Sunday. He's trying to do math.
This is what
because you got to do 180, you got to do 180, right? Like, think about this shit. If you read,
my homie Hickson said, "Not a damn thing can get him back." So go ahead.
He didn't go to Bikini Sunday. That's why. But yeah, so
look,
like if you study Jesus, you realize that the dude was cool as fuck. He loved to party, loved to drink, and I'm almost certain he smoked because he hallucinated about meeting Satan on the mountain. Like that's the first thing I want to talk. Like I'm almost certain he did shrooms. Hell, even think about the song "Lily in the Valley." That's I'm sorry. It just...
We go ahead and mute him. Go ahead and mute him.
You might want to mute me. You might want to mute me.
Mute him, please.
Because I'm just thinking Lily in the Valley, and we think about like
we won't do all this with you. Mute him and let me go ahead and.
I don't know if I can say it because the Lily, the Valley. There's a book that says.
We done with that. Thank you. Mute him. We don't want to deal with this right now
because essentially there's a part of the woman's organ.
I'm talking over him now. For future sponsorship, mute him because Mr. Life. Thank you. Just all right.
Jesus, yes, Jesus was high. Think about that.
Oh my gosh.
It makes perfect sense. He was on shrooms. Jesus was on shrooms. He was on shrooms. It's not even do you understand why John said he ate the was it locust and honey or some shit? That was the name of an actual plant, right? Like people get it confused. Wild locust and honey. That was an actual plant that you could eat. It wasn't actually like he ate fucking locust and dipped them in honey. That's not a delicacy. Jesus was high. All right. Like you do some shrooms, you do it on a fast.
All right, so look, I'm not even gonna start with he crazy. I'm
how he had to walk on water. I don't know. You got to be floating. You got to.
Well, that's because if you knew the science, Mr. Life, he didn't walk on water. The water turned to ice. Duh. And he walked on ice. Covered in water.
BG, 2 points on getting the men back. Come on, brother.
Were those my 2 points? I think I will say
yeah.
I cannot fool with
Strip
y'all.
club and get high.
No, we're not putting poles in the center aisle of the church, and we ain't doing. Let's be practical. You stop it.
Oh no, that was one interpretation. That was one interpretation.
Wait a minute. What's the difference between the pole and you having a minister doing a money line?
There you go.
You saying we making it rain either way? I don't know. Look,
if the minister goes to the strip club after service, you're basically doing the same thing. If he goes to the strip club after service and gives those same dollars you did, I'm just cutting the middleman out.
This is what I deal with. Like life should be easier than this, but y'all two knuckleheads today. I knew I would be the voice of reason in those
the Lily in the Valley. That's perfect.
Okay,
you know what he was talking about, right? It was about Mary Magdalene. That's what the Lily in the Valley was about. So,
all right, BG, 2 points, sir. 2 points before we move on.
What is happening here? Look at the level of debauchery I deal with day in and day out. So, 1 point I give you real quick. Honestly, look. Men are interested in making money. If every message is about giving money, that's counterproductive to them. They out of there. Like that's the easiest thing. Like if you want to be real simple, real man trying to make money. So we got every message and every other message about giving money. Like, hold on now, you stripping me down. I can give you when you help me make. You help me make, then I help you take. But you ain't going to just get all my money for no reason. That's just how men think because they already come in skeptical. And so message. It's not a matter of whether tithing is right or wrong. They're looking at basic principles. All this money you want me to give. Are we in business together? You helping me make money? We doing stuff? Dudes want to make money. That's what God. So if you give them things, you bring in people, seminars, business owner, you got a whole thing. Everybody can get that LLC that Sunday. All you need is this form of ID, this and that. It's good to have an LLC, S Corp, whatever it is. It's this simple, bringing your money. This what you need. And we say, you know what? We ain't even taking tithe this Sunday. Matter of fact, y'all scrap tithe. Everybody, what y'all is going to tithe, bring it in because we got a real business person. You will be signed. We're going to bring Sunbiz, whatever company with, and everybody getting an LLC. You don't think people have a different mindset than it? Like, hold up, my church off the chain.
So there was a comment. So there was a comment. So Kenneth Brown said, "I'm confused. Is the point trying to get men back in the church?" My point is this: is that the church's motto is this: if you come to us, you have to become like us. That cannot be the motto. The motto has to be: if you come with us, we will work with you. Because some days maybe you need to have trap
to be like Christ, though, right? You ain't gonna be like us. We talking about being.
But think about this. What was Christ? Christ was wholly him, but he could go and be with everyone. He could hang with strippers. He could hang with prostitutes. He could go clubbing. He can go partying. He could do all that shit. He could drink and not feel guilty, right? He could be like them. Like you can be among them, but not necessarily being like, I can go to a strip club. I can throw dolls and all that shit. I can appreciate a person's body, right? Male and female, and be good. Right, I can do that, right? Because I understand what that is. That's that to me. When I see someone talented on a pole, that's art, right? Because I can't do that shit. I can't levitate in the fucking air on a pole and then stop midway. And then point that I'm getting at is this, right? Is that if you really want men to come back to the church, then you cannot be the men that you are right now, because that man is not getting them in there. You have to become like, you have to be what you're trying to get. Question like this. Could you date you as you are right now? And the answer is fucking no. Then the same thing goes for your pastor and your mentor and everything else. If you are not what you want to be right now, then how can you bring somebody else who's doing that same shit? You can't. You can't.
Man, he losing. But we got 1 point. So you asked for 2. One of them I was mentioning was helping folks to make this money. Because when it's give, and your life get tight and you can't live, nobody wants to feel like church is a burden. And so some people bail out of there because they're like, this is too much, this is too heavy. You want this? We got a build-in fund. We got this conference fund. We got give day money fund, JoJo money fund, all of that. Like that stuff gets like, you feel drained because it's like, didn't I just give my tithe? I gave my offering. And then we have on some people feel like they stripped us, like all is given. But look, if you can manage your money, congratulations. Some people can't manage their money. So when they're doing all this giving, like it's egregious to think that somebody would give their light bill money to the church. Like it has a name. It's called light bill money. But for some reason, you put it in church money and you gave it to them. And people do that. And look, it's tough because we were young as kids. When I was seeing people, oh, you going to give your net check money and then call your mama? And she's like,
wait a minute. Pause. Miss Kenyatta said that we missed this one. A woman with a lily in the valley can get a man to come back to church. Preach, preacher, preach.
Look, you know what? I'm not, because I'm glad she spelled it the correct way, COME, because there's a lot of undertones with all of that.
I think she meant for it to be CUM, but we'll roll with it.
But you know what, too? Look, a homie of mine just dropped a comment. He said this answer. He say, if you're free thinking, the church can't handle that. And I will give you a perfect example of that. And I'm glad he dropped that real quick. Let me tell you this here. We had our whole clique of guys, right? We would park, we would do all of this, get people to whatever in the rain, whatever. An example of free thinking when it was said, oh, the church has a budget. So you know what? As men, we'll have car washes. We'll go ahead and sell baked goods, do all this food and raise the money on ourselves, right? We're free thinking. It's like, okay, so now we're going to buy our own shirts. We're going to get our own name tags. We're going to provide our everything. You don't have to do anything. This is on us. Yeah. But it's like, we understand you're doing that, but technically you're an entity in the church. So what we need to do is you got to pull back a little bit. We need to oversee your funds. It's like, but we raising these funds outside of the church. Like, the thing is, we're flowing, because technically, when you think about a lot of churches, right? When you go to them, what it is, you go to them, you say, this is what we want to do. We're said ministry, and they say, okay, if we have it in the budget. But if we eliminated the whole budget component where we don't have to come to you for money of anything, that's us free thinking, free flowing. But when it's like, yeah, but let's go ahead and tie those money to the church money and have account, you just eliminated the level of freedom we had, because the freedom we had allowed us to raise funds. It allowed us to help people, car washes. It allowed us to help people with food.
You a slave to Christ, remember?
We're going to pull you back. and so that was men being, that's a perfect example of men being men. You didn't have to give us a message on it. We went ahead and did it on our own accord, and you cast it out and reeled us back in. Men do not like that, because us men feel like if we do what we need to do, you jump on board to get out the way. Once you're in the way, you're a problem. And if you're going to be a continual problem, we deucing and we out of the church. Once again, we leaving, but that's not what we're talking about. We're trying to get back. Everybody keep talking about how we leave. How can we get back? Anybody? I can't. Mr. Light, how can we come back though? Because everybody keep talking about reasons why we leave. Let's bring us back to the church. Come on, Mr. Light.
How can they get men back, right? I definitely think I touched on one thing. They got to be willing to turn the church over to men. Take it away from the women because it's gynocentric right now. And it's not allowing men to be men. I actually took some notes on this because I was thinking about it a lot today. So, and it was one more that I had that was really great. Start telling women the truth. Start telling women the truth about men. And not that God is going to send them a husband. They got to prepare to be a wife. And
that's good.
Yeah, and definitely what I mean by that, because we see a lot of women in church running around here talking about God going to send me a man. They 400 pounds, 5'2", and literally got stretch marks on the side of their cheeks. I'm not trying to hate on women, but if you want a good man or any type of man or a man a part of the league of extraordinary gentlemen, you got to come better than that. And the church isn't talking about that. They aren't talking about what men really want. And until they start preaching about what men really want inside a wife, they're just going to have a bunch of women come in there praying for God to actually send them a husband. And yeah, I'm going to leave that as that because this is going to lead into our next section. Let's get to the video.
Ooh, I've been waiting. I haven't even seen this video. Run it.
Yeah, first, let's do this. Is the church lying to women about men? And this video comes there. You all might not know there's a guy out there by the name of Kevin Samuels. And we did our show on Thursday about the church. And he came on Sunday and pretty much did the same show, talking about what the church need to do to get men back. Well, about 2 months ago, I just played what the guy said about this is about Kevin Samuels.
Is it entrusted to you? Avoid the irreverent babble and contradictions of what is falsely called knowledge. For by professing it, some have swerved from the faith. And he said, grace be with you. You got to be careful who you listen to. You got to be careful who you listen to. Taffer was showing me about, some guy on television just insulting women, and he's becoming popular because women are so desperate for the truth. They're looking at this so-called knowledge, and the whole bottom line is, if you want to marry a millionaire, then you got to be this kind of way to marry a millionaire. How do you sit up there and listen to somebody insult you? Is it that bad? Well, I got to try something because I got to get a man. You know you can do bad all by yourself, right? You don't need a man to do bad by yourself.
So before we get into what he said, what was with all that fucking makeup? Like, why was his face, as they say, beaded and or painted?
Stop it, man. Can you
like, what was with all that? What was with all of like I was looking at his face and I'm like, you look like a Tyler Perry play. Like, what the fuck is going on with your face?
You can't even get past that. Stop it.
No, I can't. I just looked and I was like, that's not his real face. Like, something's happened to him. That's an imposter.
Let me tell you, I was saying real quick about him, and I'm gonna let y'all run on. Look, check it out. The thing is, it's what he said is this is what bothers me, not about him, like as a person. I don't know him. But you get are you telling me I get penalized for having standards? Because the thing is, when people talk about how you get a woman with good credit, how you get a woman that's physically fit.
Hold on. Time out. Come on, people. We've been giving y'all some good quality content tonight. Can we get some likes up here? Can we get some likes on Facebook? Can we get some likes on YouTube? Can we get some likes somewhere? Just give us some likes. You're watching. Hey, we are struggling streamers right now. We are great in our life. We do well at life. but we're struggling at streaming right now. So hey,
We new to
help the
this.
brothers
That's
out.
what he's saying.
Help the brothers out. Give us some
we-
likes. Come on. Give us some likes. Give us some like. Go subscribe. Please subscribe. Tell your friends. Tell your mother. Tell your sister. Tell your brother. Tell your side chick. Tell your sneaky link.
Oh,
Tell
you
your
sound like
sneaky link.
you sound like a water boy on the corner right now. You could just put in the banner, click like and subscribe, or something like that.
No, because he has to be passionate. He's being a man, and a
Tell
man
your
gonna
sneaky
express
link.
his mind.
Tell
He
your throat
expresses his
baby.
mind.
Tell your bust it baby.
Oh, he went throwback. He went all of that. He
Tell
his Waukesha, tell his all of them. He wants
Tell
to
them
tell
all. Tell
of
them all. Hit the like button. Get the likes up. Get the likes up for us now. All right. BG, I'm back with you.
Okay, let me finish it off. And I still have my train of thought, even despite your rant. I love it. It's perfect. So the thing is, you making these women look like they're fools when another guy is saying these are the standards you need to get a guy of this caliber. Doesn't everybody have standards? Doesn't the church have standards? Like when we have these standards, you give us the standards of what it is to get to be a Christian, to walk with Christ, to have this. So when it's outside of the church, I can't be knocking another guy for having standards. Look, you're not just gonna wake up and have a millionaire dude or a millionaire woman. I don't care what side you look at it. Standards are always and will always be a part of life. And if somebody's giving you insight, that's to enlighten you, not to tear you down. Because the way it seemed like in that video clip, and I don't have the whole video, I don't have the full context, so I'm gonna be fair, but it almost makes it seem like you're desperate as a woman if another guy is giving you insight on how to get a certain guy, when you would think you would want to hear from that guy, because him being a guy, he has an insight. And if it's a successful guy, he's talking to other successful guys, and those successful guys are telling each other what they want from a woman. So when somebody like that then gives you said insight, that's the upper hand you have. So if a pastor is coming against that, why would you not want insight that'll give you the upper hand to get 100,000 there, $1 million there, whatever level it is? So that's what confuses me in that message. And that's the part I would have a problem with.
It goes back to what I was saying first.
He wouldn't go to that church. He wouldn't go to that church.
Exactly.
He wouldn't go to that church. If I'm a millionaire and I became a millionaire without everything that you preached, why would I want a woman who believes that she has to believe in some imaginary friend to do what I did without him? That's just one scenario. That's just my scenario.
Yeah, but you got to give us more than that. You all happy about that? He's smirking and sitting
He's
back,
smirking,
and she's like, "We done made up. You about to be shoot away." You have that's just one scenario. Give him the other scenario though, which is I'm a millionaire, and you discouraging like. You pretty much saying a woman who would want to enhance herself and better herself to be, so you would be in my eyesight, right? I'm a guy, I'm looking at you. That's wrong. It's almost like it's desperate. Like, what you mean? I mean, if you want to go to the Bible,
but hold on.
Ruth was getting it in. He ain't gonna settle for no just gold digger, whatever. Like if she getting her hustle on and she grinded, that's attractive to that guy. Like, come on, what we talking about here? That shouldn't even been a conversation. Because him as a guy who's also a millionaire is not settling. If you want to keep it playing, him being the guy who is a millionaire, he has standards. And yes, he's married.
Because he can have standards. He doesn't have to date the mother that's 300 pounds and 5'2". Why would he do that? And a lot of women
contradicting his own lifestyle with a message like that. You got standards. He's not settling for anything.
He's having this conversation because he wants his tithe and offering to continue to come in from the women.
Yeah,
he understands that his church is mainly made up of women, and women and black women, in particular, that are doing quite well right now in Atlanta without a man, and they want to give him that 10% plus the offering. And if a man came along and said, hell no, we ain't giving this guy no 10% plus offering, he's going to see his plane go away, his 3 churches go away, and everything else go away.
Yep.
And on side of that, And yeah, I have some. Yeah, he's a trifling dude anyway.
Oh, he wanted to get in that trifling. So go ahead. You know what? I was gonna leave it be.
We have some
Once
inside
again,
information on him. We have
the information. We're not trying to tear down the church, but since the video played,
I am trying to
and he
tear
had
down
the
this
comment-
church.
This one, well, look,
This is the one that asked.
I'm
This is
gonna
the
go
one that
get my
actually like
shade.
your pay stubs. This is the church. It's either your pay stubs or your tax returns. They ask for one of
Y'all
the two.
gonna make me cuss. I don't even do that. But I'm finna put on my shades, turn
Yes,
it
you
back
do.
and
Yes,
cuss.
you do. You cuss all the fucking time.
You know what? No, that's a bold-faced lie. Don't insult my character. Don't do that. But just for that, I should have.
Which character?
And that I cuss and I don't cut. Both of them.
Which
It's
character?
two. I'm a Gemini. It's two. One of them cares more about his character. The other doesn't care about you at all. But go ahead, give the inside information, Mr. Amari. Drop it.
No.
Oh, what? Because Mr. Life, you said let it fly. So Amari,
One
go
of my
ahead.
wife's
What you
friends.
said-
One of my wife's friends was a pastor for him inside his New York church.
Mm.
And they pretty much just walked them out of the church after they found out that the offerings was going down inside the main church. So he moved into New York and many other things. I shouldn't be saying this, but he moved to New York, paid for everything.
Don't say it
and
if you don't feel like it's right.
Yeah. Hey, it's too late. I'm like 90% in right now, right?
I don't know. I don't know the end of the story.
He moved to New York, moved him to New York, paid for everything, blase, and literally sent like 2 henchmen to tell him that he was fired, move out. No word. That's how he do his ministers.
Dang, 2 henchmen. Dang. I just wanted to hear the jet story again, but okay. That's just.
But that's what happened when tithe and offering come short. So he got to preach like that, right? He got to preach and let these women know, hey, there's a reason why his name is Pastor Crep Your Dollar.
I'm almost certain Dollar's not his real last name.
He said crep. Like I'm
the Pastor Crep Your Dollar.
Give me your money. Give me your money. People.
Why, the church does the church have valet and you got to pay for the valet at the church? Isn't that true too?
That is
I'm making shit up.
hilarious.
I'm making shit up. I'm making that up. I made that up. I made that up.
No, if that's the case, no, you bring that up. If that's the case, we missing a lot of tips right now.
We missing a lot
whole
of
bunch of
Oh yeah, because we did
taking tips.
We missing a lot of tips. Stop that.
Hey, we should have had him stripped for the tip. Even though we did see a lot of that going on.
Oh gosh.
I honestly no. I think if you and you both know my philosophy, right? Like we don't know what the faith of our ancestors was prior to colonization. So I look at things as if we were a sexually active culture, and again, there's tens of thousands of cultures in Africa. Like the church is so repressive on one's sexual desires, right? It's like you come in there, you know, put a nut sack on and a sheath in the vagina and drive your fucking thing up. And don't even talk about it, don't think about it until you get married and have a bunch of little offspring. Like it's just such a, you know what I'm saying? Like they just grip your fucking balls, and it's I don't know. It's so repressive, is what I'm trying to say. Like you cannot be your authentic self in there. It's stuffy, and then when you go in there, it's literally as if the identity that you could be or have, they just peel every fucking layer away until you know we need you to be this monotheistic, paralyzed, damn near paraplegic shell of a man. And that's what Jesus wants. So fuck that.
Let me tell you, you know what I like what you talk. I hear you. Look, and you segued me into this here. The whole thing with Peter was every time he wanted to be his authentic self.
I got a good one.
He was out of line in certain instances. He was even rebuked. But he was always covered. And I think that's the whole thing I look at.
Wait a minute. Y'all Negroes keep on losing track, man. We are on Is the Church Lying to Women About Men. Y'all don't win on Peter everywhere else right now.
But no, because he made me think of something. I'm going to get right back on it. The reason I bring that is, look, honestly, I'm going to be honest.
No. Who the fuck are these men, right? Who the fuck are these men? Like you want a godly man to come in and sweep you off your feet like it's some romantic fucking comedy? What is your idea of a man? Is your idea of a man as someone that takes charge, has self-confidence, and isn't as insecure in their body as you? Like, is that your idea of a man? Do you want someone to come and validate you and make you feel special and all that shit? No, you should do that for yourself. Why do I want someone that needs me to validate them when I want someone who already has validated for themselves? And we don't have that. The church teaches you to let someone else come in and be your validation. That's what they teach. What they should be teaching is you validate yourself, and then when you meet someone who is also validated, y'all validate each other. That's how that shit is supposed to work. So when you ask, is there something with women? Yes, they fucking are. They're selling them a pipe fucking dream. That man that you believe is on the back of a romantic comedy book or a milk carton. He does not fucking exist. He is gone.
BG.
Look. You know what? You broke my previous thought. I'm gonna put a pin in that one, and then I'm gonna go back on topic. Then is the church lying to women about men? I would say this here. Even if they're not lying, you can say it's deception. We're not telling them everything, right? When it comes to us men. And you know what? The church and relationships, they have it's weird. I'll give you a perfect example. And when I'm saying example, I don't know directly, but you know, will I embellish a little bit? Sure, why not? Let me say this here. This is the crazy thing about church. Get you a man who loves the Lord. He's gonna be consistent. He's gonna come to church every Sunday and do everything he needs. He's gonna lead, he's gonna tithe. That's an awesome man and all of that. And okay, cool, that's great. But then I wish I had my shades. You know what? I'm gonna send out a hit. Can I get my shades? Hey, excuse me. Ooh, shades. Can I get my shades? Bad Gemini has come. I'm mad. Give me these darn shades. Put this thing on. I was trying to chill. Bad Gemini has arrived. This is the flip side I was talking about. In these same darn churches, you would have it where a woman is getting punched in the face, got raccoon eyes, getting mushed, getting cussed at, and all of that. Go talk to the mother and be like, well, baby, you have to believe in the Lord, like his heart would change. I know you got punched in the eye last night, but you got to believe God going to continue to pray. Continue to pray. God will change him. Things will get better. And we hope it'll all work out. Instead of going to the authorities, instead of doing, this woman is sitting here going to church every Sunday and hoping that her black eyes will heal in time for her to go to work. You know what I'm saying? So that's what pisses me off. That's the two extremes of the church. I know it sounds like I'm joking and clowning, but
that's actually true.
For a moment, but if we're gonna be real for a moment, you have women in abusive relationship, and the church may have a flip side. Well, he can change. Just pray to God. We hope that. Like, no, it should be. This is the practicality. So we ain't even talking about just for men, even helping with women. Like, no, you got a bell woman. What you mean the Lord gonna change his heart and he just beat you up 3 nights in a row? Get out of there and run for the hills. Don't listen to any advice the church talking about. If he gonna change, he ain't gonna change with you. And I know I went into a whole tangent, but I just had to give you something extreme of how you have the both sides of the church. So as a man, you trying to do certain things, a woman trying to do certain things. You know what logic is. And having your sensibility. Some things, when it doesn't feel right, leave that whole situation alone. And I hate that aspect of where everything becomes too spiritual. So when you talk about dealing with the man, you can't be too spiritual, because any man, even in the Bible, when you go look, they like a level of practicality, spiritual and practicality.
But the church has to keep you in a victim mentality. Right, like they have to keep. So that's literally like asking an abuser to stop another abuser. Right, like think about that shit. Like if you get out of that victim mentality and get into empowerment, then you're more likely to look at the situation from a different perspective. But if you keep having that abused perspective,
look, I'm gonna cut you out. I'm just glad Tina Turner wasn't fully engrafted in church and she was torn and doing all that. She would have been with Ike forever. Because had she been in church,
you're actually right. Yeah, you're actually right.
You're doing
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Don't mess it up.
That's a good point.
Before it was Tina Turner, it was Ike and Tina Turner. Like, baby, don't mess it up. You're doing well. That man's successful. He writing songs. You're making all your money. Do not.
That was her mother in the movie.
You doing
That was
the
her mother in the
correct, right?
movie.
The mother in the movie, and her mother was sometimes I might be stretching, but an example of the type of advice sometimes you would get from the church. Like, no, Tina, run from it, run, burn, keep them burning and get up out of there. Do not deal with that individual. Come on, man. Some of this stuff practical, man. I get pissed. Anyways, go ahead. It just made me think of that. I'm sorry. Continue, Amari.
I think you said it, man. I think that was it. That was so to get them. The church is definitely lying to them because, again, if you keep them in a victim or needy mentality, they're gonna keep giving, right? It's basically like a fucking healthcare system. So honestly, if you want men to come back in, the church can't be how it is. To Mr. Life's point, men have to start running it, and that means it has to run differently, it has to be differently. Maybe some shit would actually get accomplished. Who knows?
Can I throw this caveat in there? When we said men running it, let's get just to provide some information. The pastor can still be a woman. That's not what we're talking about. It can be a woman as a pastor, but the men have to be able to navigate behind that and still put things in order. So it's not, when we say men running, we're talking about no women as pastors. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about even when the structure is a woman is the pastor, men have to be reinforcing her message and have a strong presence in that ministry. You know, so I just had to provide that clarification.
So, and to further clarify that, right? We're not saying that the church has to be all men. We're saying that men who are authentic in who they are, right? Being who they are and being good at what they are and embracing all of that, the good and the bad, those are the men you want in there. Those who are willing to stand up, have the difficult conversations and make some shit work, right? And they want to build stuff. And right, like that's the kind of men we're talking about. And right now, the men that I'm aware of that are in there, they're a lot more show, a lot more talk, and a lot more fluff than they are substance. So yeah, if you want real men to come in, be prepared for some shit to change and it to be different. And for it to be unfamiliar and uncomfortable, because it should fucking be. Because right now, the church is a dying entity. Golf clap to that. And so if you want to save it, it can't be in the same shape. That's all I got to say.
BG, last words.
I gave him. I don't even have any more on that. A bad Gemini came out. I'm back. I'm re good. Let's keep it rolling.
Well, I'm gonna say this one thing before we move on to the pause for the cause, which we're gonna probably change the name to Communion coming forward.
Oh Lord, this is what I have to deal with. Hand back over.
So one day we're gonna drop the news about the big announcement. We'll let that be known. I guess we already did. Did we do that or no?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. But you can go ahead and say it again if you want to.
Oh, okay. Well, just if you are listening, for the few to soon be many that we have officially filed the paperwork to become our own church, Mansplanation Ministries International. Yes, we have an EIN number. Yes, we'll be taking offering. And yes, we are real. Just as real as every other bullshit church is too. With all the power of the tax exempt status afforded to us by the IRS.
All right. So if you all want to join the chat for a quick moment and say what you have to say, there is a link inside the comments. I'm not sure if you're on YouTube or Facebook, but it should be on both. But if it's not there, just go to YouTube. You can join the chat. The link is there to the StreamYard. StreamYard is what we're using. You're going to have to verify yourself with YouTube to come on. So definitely let you all know that. So if you want to get in and say some things, hey, we got about 2 minutes here before we wrap it up. So I'm looking right now for you all to join us. So Kenneth Brown, you've been talking all night. Time to cam up, brother. KB.
We bringing them in? We bringing them in live?
Yeah. Henson, cam up, brother. Join the link.
He been wanting to get in. He asked to get in early. I was like, we'll wait. We'll save time for that. Yeah.
Cam
they
up.
ready? They got
Cam
their cams. They better phone cam.
Cam up if you want to join us right now.
Up.
Before we so speak now, forever hold your truth. Because we've talked enough about the church. We might do one more episode on the church, and then after that we can make the man shit. Because this is enough of this right here. This is enough of this right here. Hey, we've done it. It's time to move on. And yeah, that's what we're trying to do. So definitely back to that. Women, yeah, the church is lying to women. And that's definitely my thing is because these pastors, just like Creflo Dollar, telling them that, hey, why do you want to listen to this man? Women, if you want a man, I advise you to listen to a man on how to get a good man.
Think about this. Don't listen to that man. Listen to this man. That's all he's saying.
Because we can tell you better.
That's what he said.
Because we're not asking for your money or your poontang. See, man, KB keep on posting, but he won't join the chat. KB, Kenneth Brown, you're a pastor.
Can we log him in? Do you
are a
narcissist? The chat? He just
have no problems on speaking. I don't know a preacher that has a problem on speaking. You got to.
Don't you have to invite him?
No,
don't you have to invite him into the chat?
The link is inside the chat. I already dropped it. The same link that you got. Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
And KB, if you can't get it, let me know. Oh man, now look at this right here, bro. Look at this right here.
On whatever y'all talking about, this is a prevalent topic to what we're talking about. Let's see if we can bring in. Let me see if I can on the phone.
And that's the thing about pastors. So I'm gonna talk about him right now. Because when it's time to step up to the plate, the pastor step down from the plate. This is the perfect time. Cam up. Get on your phone. Cam up. Let's have the conversation. Let's do it like men. Chop it up. We still
because we do want insight from a pastor.
Yeah. Ain't no hard feelings. I am still somewhat a man of God. Well, a man that somewhat, yeah, whatever. But
yeah.
I'm gonna ask you this. Are you Christian, Mr. Life?
Well, that's a great subject. I mean, that's a great question. And the thing is, I looked at everything and I found that people that are agnostic and people that are atheists usually are angry at God. And I don't like being angry. So I decided that I would just rather believe in God than not. So that's me.
That makes no sense.
That makes any sense. Have you heard yourself?
Yeah, all that.
Have you heard me?
Yeah,
I'm not angry at God.
You are.
I'm not angry at God.
For no apparent reason. You are just angry at everything for no apparent reason. I actually get it from you because you are one hell of an angry guy.
I am passionate.
Not to be angry. I love life.
You only know one atheist / agnostic?
No, I know many, but when I talk to you a lot, I hear the anger, and I just like, that's not for me.
I was that angry as a Christian. That was there's no difference.
Hey, can you understand? Pastors come up for the collection plate.
Kenyatta ain't playing. Ken ain't playing. Ken is not playing. I can't with y'all. Y'all.
And KB said that I am good with it. You can talk about me. See, pastors, man, I don't know what to say about pastors. So Amari?
Yeah, no.
I'm trying to send a link to my boy right now. Go ahead.
No, I think I'm good, man. I think we said enough. I know we talked about how to bring men back, but the truth is that you're better off just starting your own and building from scratch. If you want a church with men that lead, then do what we're doing. Build a church with men that lead.
That's it.
But I'm gonna say this too.
My
homie did say something. Honestly, at this point, do men want to come back? It's almost like
Nah.
with jobs in America right now, right? Some people have been unemployed so long, plus they get the multiply added, you get an extra 300, 600, depending on your state. They're like, dang, I'm making almost my whole full check I was making, and I get to stay home. So it's like one of the things, like, do I really want to go back to work? So people are in that same boat with church. They're like, do I really want? Forget, it's like you can present every argument of what we should do to get men back. But those people or guys are like, do I really want to go back? Though I'm loving my life right now. You know what I'm saying? And so that's the flip side of it. The question is, what do we have to do to bring men back? But then it's like, how many men really want to come back? And that's a bigger question, because those guys who really don't want to come back, they've already made the final verdict in their mind that church ain't gonna change. It's gonna be the same. Don't care who the leader is, and I refuse to come back because it's pointless. Unfortunately,
Do you realize that pastors are basically just pimps with a large congregation?
I always said that I was going to write a book and call it "Pimps, Pastors, and Politicians: What They All Have in Common."
false promises.
And the only ones I trust are the pimps.
That's it.
Because you know what you get with a
I
pimp.
trust the pimp over those two. But hey, Henson, hey brother, the link is inside the chat. I'm not sure where you're looking from, Facebook or YouTube. It does say that because we are literally figuring ish out as we go along. We really don't know what's going on. So the link should be at least on the YouTube page that you watch. So if you're watching from there, I'm not sure about the Facebook page, but because I'm not there. But if you want to join, we'll give you another minute before we do the pause for the calls. Oh, there he goes.
He's on there.
Henson.
Yeah, nah.
Okay.
Henson, where you at, brother?
I'm at home.
Pan-Africanism.
I'm at home.
So,
ahead.
what you gotta say on the, brother, what you got to say on the topic?
Well, I love the topics y'all been having because I haven't heard a topic like this in a while. Donnell know me very well about a lot of things that goes on in these churches. Got these dudes running around here.
Bad Gemini.
Not focus on what they need to focus on, getting where they need to get ahead. As far as financing, then you got these beta males that's actually in these churches. I mean, that's running everything. That got these females got their head all discombobulated. I'm happy I had this conversation because I've been waiting patiently. Donnell know me very well.
Let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
What do you think the church need to do to get men back in the church?
That ship is sailed. I'm gonna be really honest with you. That ship is sailed. Because right now, as men, we're trying to build our future, trying to build things so we can have something to leave for our kids. We ain't trying to hear all that. Oh, if you pray enough about it, you pray enough about it, something's gonna come to you. So
Kenyatta says that they all will sell you a dream. And this is
I'm listening.
up to you to buy it with a PPP loan. That is what it is.
Oh, yeah. Apply for the loan, watch God work, and now give 10% of that loan to me. Oh, it's genius. It's genius.
It is. Oh man, that we had a super great show. And Henson, if you want to come back for the communion, you can come on back. I'll drop you inside the scene. So, brothers, grab your glasses. It's time for pause for the calls.
Mine is in the other room. I'm out of my two.
Man, you got plenty glass. You got plenty bottles back there on your cabinet.
Give me 1 second.
Go for it. Oh man, what a great show. KB, Pastor B, next time you want to cam up. Don't be shy. Bring it. We want all the smoke. We want all your smoke. So Amari, where can we find you at?
On Instagram at Professor Axiomatic, listed below.
BG, where can we find you at?
Look, you can find me because you already see we representing the Chester's on Swizzy. So it's Gym Life _ LLC on Instagram. But guess what? We're gonna have Bad Gemini. We're gonna give him a page. So as soon as I have that page information, Bad Gemini coming and he gonna have some foolishness on deck for you. So he's coming next. On top of that, that's all you need to know for right now. Go ahead, Mr. Life.
Mr. Mari, what you drinking on over there, sir?
I am having a bee's knees with Monkey 47 gin, my favorite gin.
Oh, that's that good communion wine right there, boy.
Oh, this is the best. This is what Jesus has blessed. So I like to think that as I make this drink, his hands touch my hands. We have a moment like in the movie Ghost where he guides the alcohol to where it needs to go. He mixes it with me. And at the end, we both bless it, but I'm the one that's drinking it. So
BG, what you drinking on, sir?
Right now, I'm just low key. I'm on some Merlot. Just one of these. I know he's looking like that. He's laughing. He really laugh. I can't. First off, before you laugh, we boozed up enough on the guys' trip. I have to now bring it back in to get my body right. So forget y'all, because the chest is still got to be on Swizzy. But anyhow, we just on some Dark Horse, real simple. Some Merlot. This is a common brand right here. Dark Horse, you know, you've seen this here. You see the little horse face on there and whatnot. So I'm just on some red, relax, very neutral, calm, despite y'all debauchery.
So on that trip, how many bottles of liquor did we go through?
at least 5.
Approximately.
It was more than 5.
You're underselling.
It was more than 5. I'm saying, yeah, because
it's approximately. It was 8 on top of the liquor that was had outside when we went to said venues and ordered more. You know, so yeah, equivalent of close to 10 bottles.
I'm still trying to recover.
This is my first drink since I've been back. Like what I made tonight.
Today was my first time
water.
Oh, I wish I had
drinking water.
stopped, but nah.
No, you kept going, right? You kept going.
Yeah.
You kept going.
Yeah, I visited my brother and it kept going. And here I am again. Cheers to us. This is a great episode. I loved it.
All right. This is what I'm drinking, people. Can you all see that? Let me move it inside.
No, bring it back. Let it clear. Let it clear.
There we go. Yeah,
read it for us.
There we go.
What it say?
Glendullo. This is a Irish whiskey. I want to do a little bit of talk about Irish whiskey before we go, right? Well, let me say this. I have officially started recording my liquor reviews, and you will get those on Masplanation Media, the channel itself, not on the Figuring Ish Out channel. So make sure you go find that channel, Masplanation's Media channel.
Network.
Yeah, the Masplanation Network channel. And I'm going to start dropping those liquor reviews come up here shortly in the next 2 to 3 days. And this is going to be the one that I'm going to talk about. I got some smoke wagon back there. I got plenty stuff that you haven't heard of. And I'm going to also give you a history of where they come from, what's the differences, and those type of things. So you're not just drinking that rock gut Hennessy all the time. Why do black people love Hennessy so much, man? It's not
Hen Remy, Hen and Rem.
Hennessy and Remy, all the cognacs is just like literally.
This is the same reason why we love Red Lobster. Yeah. Same shit.
That involved
nobody. I don't think people going to Red Lobster no more. If you going to Red Lobster, I'm not judging you. I'm not judging
I
you.
am.
Look, everything come out the bag. I'm just letting you know everything come out the bag. Go ahead.
All right. So a little bit about this. A little bit about Irish whiskey and Scotch whiskey, right? They use 100% barley. Unlike American whiskeys where you're talking bourbons or anything like that, they have to use 51% corn. If it's bourbon, it can be made anywhere in America. A lot of people think just Kentucky. No, it can be made anywhere in America as long as they use 51% corn. But when we're talking about Irish malts and we're talking about those type of things, and we're talking about and Scotch, it has to be made from barley, 100% barley, right? And this one says, and usually Irish whiskeys are a blended thing. And what that means is they can pull it from any type of barrel or any batch, and they usually just mix them up together and just pour it together. When we're talking about Scotch, they usually do a single malt, which means that it came out of that same batch. It's the same taste through and through. It doesn't change. So that's the basics of that. But Irish whiskey, a lot of people think that is worse than Scotch, but typically it's all about your taste buds. Johnny Walker, that's a blended whiskey as well. And those are some of the best. If you get the blue label, Amari could test to that.
It's good.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing, brothers. All right,
we're gonna get into all of that. Look, before we wrap this up, I gotta ask, because we're gonna wrap it up. Let's wrap it up right.
Let's wrap it
I'm
up.
gonna ask you this, Mr. Live. If we're gonna wrap it up, you know what? I'm taking over. I'm wrapping up this episode.
Wrap it
he
up.
didn't know I was gonna do it, but I'm doing it.
No, I did not.
We're gonna end with this here. Would you consider going back to the church, Mr. Life?
Like Amari said, if they had a strip pole, if they had a DJ,
all I had to do was get the episode in, and I didn't do it.
If they did banging beats instead of banging tamarines, because I'm not with banging tamarines. I'm not a tamarine player. I don't do tamarines. Even when I went to church, I didn't even go to church.
So if you found the right church for you, would you go? If you find the right, honestly, if you found the right church for you, would you go? He's done. He's done, folks. We're done.
I'm probably done.
He's lying to.
All right, raise your hand for our communion. Let's get this communion going.
This man a fool.
For the church of mansplaination, and this is the body of the man. Pause. No homo. Drink.
What is all this extra? What is this? Cheers. I'm confused. I'm not asking Amari that question. We know he's
hey. One last thing, Amari, you've been a trisexual, right? You've been a trisexual.
No, just by.
Now you're trisexual. You like me and
we're gonna let that be, man. We're not getting all that. Let's just go on.
I don't know if you want to go into. I don't know if you want to go into the degrees of everything, but yeah.
Let's go into the outpost. The episode is about one thing. Let's not.
You asked me the question. You didn't ask me the question about would I go back to church.
No, we know you not. So you bypass.
No, that's not true. That's not fully true. Ask me the question.
Amari, would you go back to church?
No, I need BG to ask me the question. It needs ask me the question.
Church? This church is because that's what you go. Amari, if everything was right, would you consider going back to church?
I would go back to the church that I'm going to start.
That's what I was talking about. That's you can expect that. Stop it. He's done.
Because the only church that I would go. Oh, please,
I'm looking for a church home. Unlike these other two heathens, I'm gonna use church.
You ain't looking for no church home. You ain't looking for no church home. Stop bullshitting yourself. You ain't looking for no church home. You ain't looking for that shit. You're not ready to go back and sit up under some other limp dick bastard who's trying to bang your wife on the side. That's not what you ready to do. That's not a goal. That's a lifelong dream. It's not a lifelong goal. Is that what you want? Oh, it's a Tallahassee pastor thing. Google it. The pastor slept with a man's wife, and the husband came home with the daughter, ran at him with a shotgun, and while he was running outside fucking naked. So no, I'm almost certain that is not. Yes, I am almost certain that's not the goal of yours.
That pastor's name, because
he's
still active. He's actively, but there's two in Tallahassee, so you have to clarify.
Not the one that we was on. That was not Lamar. That was the other Richard. So
no one gives a fuck and or knows who these pussies are, so it doesn't matter.
I actually had plans on bringing that up, but hey, yeah. So this is another episode.
Look how we ended. I am looking for a church home.
We got to take communion again, man. After that,
I'm looking for church home. Like they think I'm playing. Forget these heathens. I know
what church are you gonna go to? You ain't going to no church.
Let's cleanse our souls, man.
There's a couple I'm considering. Don't disrespect me.
Let's do our communion and go, man. All right.
You know what you're gonna do? You're gonna screenshot of Zelle payment to them and send it to them.
You both been muted. Put your glasses up for communion. Here we go. This is another episode of Figuring Ish Out, and we are done.